Welcome to Home Designer 2017 Bathroom Webinar. My name is Danny and I will be presenting for you today. We also have Philip with us on chat, so if you have any questions throughout today's presentation, we will be available to answer those. Before we begin, I would like to go over our GoToMeeting control panel. The standard is to use mic and speakers. Everyone will be muted, so you don't need to worry about setting up your microphone. If you're having a hard time hearing me, select this sound check link for additional audio controls. If you don't see the screen, it simply means that it has been minimized. If you select this orange button here in the upper left-hand corner, it will maximize that screen for you. Like I said, we will be taking questions throughout today's presentation. You could just type those in, click send, and we'll answer those as they come in. Today we will be working in Home Designer Professional. Home Designer Pro is the top program within our Home Designer line. Most of the features that we use today will be available in Architectural Suite and Interiors as well. However, if they are specific just to Home Designer Pro, I'll be sure to mention that. If you have any questions today about which software might best suit your needs, go ahead and give our sales department a call and we'll be happy to assist you. The agenda for today is to go over walls and correct dimensioning. We will also create a custom double vanity. We will create a walk-in shower. We will be placing our bathtub, lighting, and various accessories. And at the end of the presentation, we will go over material control and our materials lists. And like I said, if you have any questions throughout today's presentation, feel free to chat those in, and we will also stick around for a few minutes at the end to answer additional questions. Let's go ahead and get started. This is a welcome screen that you first see when you first open up any of our Home Designer products. You are presented with a couple options. The first is to open a new blank plan. You can also open a plan you've previously been working on, or you can find additional resources if you need any help getting started. If you select a new plan, you will see that you're presented with some template options. As you go down this list, you will notice the floor, cabinet, door and window styles change. So if there's a specific design element that you'd like to work in today, feel free to select that. If not, I will show you how to change those throughout today's presentation. We will be working in US units, inches. If you'd like to work in metric, go ahead and select that. I'm going to leave it as the default, and I'm actually going to cancel out of this because I already have a plan open up. Now this is our floor plan. As you can see, you're starting off with a blank slate. I'm going to go up to our default toolbar. This is where you'll find the parent tools such as straight wall, railing, curved wall, doors, windows, cabinets, etc. Today we'll start out with our straight exterior wall tool. I'm going to select that. When you select a tool, you will see a child toolbar appear here on the left-hand side with some additional options. The first is a straight interior wall, straight foundation wall, straight pony wall, straight half wall, as well as a room divider tool. Like I said, we will just be using the straight exterior wall, and I'm going to just click and drag. Now as you can see, a temporary dimension does appear. We don't need to worry about that dimension just yet. So once you release that, you will place your wall. Within the Home Designer program, you do need to connect all of your walls to define your space. And once you do, a couple automatic features will appear. The first is these auto exterior dimensions. Second, you'll see these dash green lines. These are your roof planes, so the program automatically generates your roof for you. And then you'll also see your square footage calculated. Now, my mouse is still the crosshair indicating that the straight exterior wall tool is still selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the spacebar on my keyboard. When I press that, it will release the object that is selected and return us back to Select Objects tool. I want to get us into a 3D perspective, so I'm going to go up to our full camera. Now we have the option for a full camera, floor camera, but I want to select the perspective full overview. Now as you can see, we have our roof, But we also have our foundation, so the program automatically generates a foundation for you as well. Since we are just working in our bathroom design today and not focusing on this aspect of the house, we can go ahead and delete that. You can delete your foundation by going to Build, down to Floor, and selecting Delete Foundation. This dialog box is just asking if we want to turn off our auto rebuild for the foundation, and we do. So I'm going to select OK. And now as you can see, we still have our roof, but if we close out of this perspective view here and get back into our floor plan, these dashed green lines are still here. Now since we're not working directly with our roof or doing any ceiling designs today, we can go ahead and hide those roof baselines by going to our Layer Display button here. You can also go up to Tools, Display Options. Select the letter R on your keyboard, and this will bring you down to the roofing section. This plus sign indicates that this feature is being used within the floor plan. So I would like to deselect roof planes and roof baselines. Basically what this is doing is just hiding it in our floor plan view. The roof will still be there, but you will not be able to see those dashed green lines, and it will make the space a little easier to work with. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to select this space, go down to our Edit toolbar, and this open door here is our Open Objects icon. And there's a couple things I'd like to point out in our room specification box. The first is under the General panel, you can declare your room type. If there is a specific room title that you would like to use that is not listed, you can customize it and type it in there. Under the Structure panel, you will have the ability to change your ceiling and floor height. Today we will be staying with the defaults. Underneath the ceiling section here, you have the option to remove the ceiling over this room. If you deselect that, your ceiling will follow your roof planes. So today we'll be working with the standard flat ceiling, so I'm just going to leave that selected. We can also get into our moldings here. I would like to add a molding to the room, so I'm going to deselect Floor Default, and I want to select Add New. This brings us to our library browser. The software comes with their core content. However, the bonus and manufacturer catalogs needed to be added from our website. I will show you how to do this at the end of our presentation today. The crown molding that we would like to use today is under our core catalogs. You can type it in, or you can open up individual folders. Another way to search through them is to go through the icons here. I'm going to select this CA21, and I'd like to adjust that height to 3 inches and the width to 3 inches. Going down our panels here, you can add a wall covering. We won't be adding a wall covering to the entire bathroom, but we will to our shower. So under materials, I'd like to adjust a few materials. For the floor finish, I'd like to change it to tile, and I'm going to actually go into our user catalog. Now when you're working with specific materials or textures throughout plans consistently, you can create a user catalog so that you can draw from it immediately without having to go through each of those folders. So I'm just going to select ironwood, press OK. And I would like to get in here and change our wall material, so I'm going to select material and change that paint. I'm going to go up to our user catalog, and that is a Benjamin Moore paint. So I'm going to select OK. And I would like to apply these changes to the room, so I'd select OK again. Now let's get into our dollhouse overview. You can go up to the camera tool up here and select dollhouse view. And now, as you can see, our tile has been applied, our paint, as well as our crown molding. So what we can do is we can tile these views vertically by going to Window, Tile Vertically. Now our floor plan view is zoomed out a little bit. What I like to use is this Fill Window feature, and it'll automatically fill the window for your entire plan. So everything in your plan will be able to be zoomed in and fit in this space. Now let's start out by dimensioning our walls. If we select this top wall here, we can change this to 22 feet. And we have a couple options. You can adjust the wall to move the left side, move both sides, or move the right end. And I want to leave it as the right end, so I'm going to hit enter. Now I'd like to adjust this wall. You can select this wall and adjust it, or you can stay selected on that top wall, and within the Home Designer software you can change the perpendicular dimension to 31 feet. Now the program thinks in feet, or I'm sorry, the program thinks in inches, so you always need to include that foot marker so the program knows exactly what you're thinking. Okay, let's fill that window here, and we can zoom out here. Now I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom out this dollhouse view. You can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in or to hold down and pan your plan. Getting into our floor plan here, I do want to give you a quick preview of what our floor plan will look like once it is finished, so you'll have an idea of where we are placing these interior walls and why we are placing them. So this is the floor plan that we will be designing today. Now let's get back in there and place our interior walls. So what I'd like to do is go over to our tool palette here, select Straight Interior Wall, and I'm just going to click and drag these walls out. Now as you can see, we have some dimensioning to do. I'm going to press the space bar on my keyboard to release that interior wall tool. And I'm just going to go around in a clockwise manner. So let's adjust this to 5 feet. This one we can adjust to 7 feet, 7½ inches. Now if we zoom in here, you can see that we have an interior dimension. We can also place our own interior dimension by going to our dimension tool and then down to interior dimension. You can place that. If you select that wall, you can click on that dimension and then also dimension that way as well. This will be 5 feet, 10½ inches. Now let's zoom back out here. I like to change this to 14 feet, 2 inches. And last but not least, adjust this dimension to be 6 feet. One of the best parts about the Home Designer program is that when you draw in both 2D and 3D, you get that real life perspective as the walls are going in and what exactly your plan will look like. So if we can just move this around, what I'd like to do is close out of this dollhouse view. And I'm going to hold the shift bar on my keyboard. I'm going to select the dimension tool, hold the shift bar on my keyboard. Since we already have our dimensions placed out, we don't need to worry too much about moving walls around anymore at this point. So what I like to do is just delete that. Select yes. This is just asking if we want to turn off the auto refresh dimensions, and we do. Makes it a little easier and less hectic to work with this individual space here. So next I want to get into a full camera view. This full camera gives you the perspective as if you're standing in the room, which is really nice, and gives you a first-hand idea of what the design will really look like. So let's go ahead and get started on our vanity. I'm going to go up here to our standard cabinet tool, And I'm going to select the standard base cabinet. I'm just going to place it along this wall. Once the object is placed, you can select the object, go down to the Edit toolbar, and select Open Object. Now this is our base cabinet specification box, and under the General panel you have some room for customization. You can define the cabinet type. Today we'll be working with just the standard base cabinet. And within Home Designer Pro you do have more options for the cabinet style, but we'll leave it as standard. We are going to adjust the width here and change that to 36 inches. Now if you press Tab on your keyboard, it'll automatically adjust the image on the right hand side of the screen. We will leave the elevation reference and countertop the same. However, under Backsplash we will remove that and set that to 0 and leave the toe kick as is. Within Home Designer Pro you do have this panel called Box Construction, and you can select framed for your cabinet to be framed, or you can leave it as a frameless cabinet. We want to leave it as a full overlay here. In the front panel, this is where you customize obviously the front aspect of your cabinet. I'm going to deselect Use Default, and I'm going to select the drawer here. I want to remove that. This cabinet will be the cabinet that holds our sink and therefore our plumbing. So we do want to get in here and adjust our shelving. You can select the image on the right hand side, and when you do you'll be presented with some more options. If we get into Specify under Shelves, you can actually get in here and manually change it to however many shelves you would like within Home Designer Pro. I'm going to select 0 because we don't need any shelving to interfere with our plumbing. Within the other Home Designer programs, you'll just have the option to have shelves or not have shelves at all. Moving forward, under the Door and Drawer panel, you can select your door style if you'd like slabbed or framed doors. We're going to leave it as the default. You can also adjust your door handle if you would like. I'll show you how to change that here in a few minutes from a 3D perspective. Under moldings, I do want to add a countertop molding. So under Add New, this brings us to our library browser once again. And I'm just going to go to the core catalogs and just go to Edge Molding. You can select any type that you would like, but for our design today we'll be using this first one here. And I want to adjust that width to 1/3. Moving down to materials, we can adjust the materials and paint of our cabinet. I am going to get into my user catalog here and change this to the bare paint. Now there's a couple other features that I want to show you how to do in 3D perspective, so I'd like to change the countertop as well. To a blue pearl granite countertop. And I want to change the toe kick color. So that will obviously be the same color as the cabinet. Now if we close out of this, you'll see our cabinet isn't fully finished. So what we can use is our material eyedropper tool. And that's just right up here. If you select that, you can zoom in and take the color or the texture or material of a specific aspect of your design, so this will be the countertop, and apply it to another. So we'll apply it to the molding. Next, what I'd like to do is apply that same color of the toe kick to the rest of the cabinet. And now our cabinet is complete. I do want to add some cabinet hardware, so I'm going to do that by going up to our library tool here and going into my user catalog. This is going to be a bonus cabinet hardware catalog, and you could just apply it straight to the cabinet. This is a double bar pull vertical, and it just makes the cabinet a little more customized and to blend into our design a little bit better. So once you select that, you can just bump it over here into the back right corner. And for our design today, I'd like to finish the right side of the cabinet vanity before switching over and copying and reflecting it to the left side. So if we close out of this library browser, we can place another standard base cabinet. I'm just going to place it right there. Now you can open it up with the edit toolbar down here. You can right click on an object and select open object, or you can double click. Just a few shortcuts there. Now for this cabinet, this is going to be our center cabinet, so I do want to adjust that height to 39 inches and that width to 36 inches. Now those are just the standard cabinet dimensions. And underneath backsplash, let's change that to 0 as well. Box construction is framed and leave it as a full overlay. However, in the front, I do want to make some more adjustments. Since this is the center cabinet, I would like to change this to be all drawers. So I'm going to select the 2 double doors here, go to item type, and change that to drawer. Now within Home Designer Pro, you have a couple more options for customization here. You can split the cabinet vertically or horizontally. If we select split horizontally, it'll adjust the cabinet, so there's 3, and then you can split it again, and now we have 4 drawers. What I'd like to do is we'll adjust the height of those drawers to 6 inches. And that'll make this last one 8. Under the door and drawer panel, going down to drawer, I'd like to change that to framed. And obviously we'd like to add a molding to match the rest of our design here. Just keeping that consistent with the 1/3, and then I'd like to press OK. We can use the material eyedropper tool once again to apply those same materials and colors to our design. Now let's open up our library to apply that cabinet hardware. You could do so by clicking Control L on your keyboard. Just another quick shortcut. We can apply that double bar pull horizontal here. Close out of our library, and let's bump this guy over. Our vanity is coming along here, so let's go ahead and finish the right side of it before we flip it to the left. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to get into the floor plan view here, and I would really like to zoom in. I think it's easier when you zoom in, you have a better perspective of what you're really working with. So now let's open up our library and place our factory sconce. I just want it bumped right in there. I want to select that factory sconce, but as you can see, when you select it, it'll automatically select the cabinet. If you press the Tab key on your keyboard, it'll take you to that next object, and then you'll be able to open it up. I'd like to adjust this height to 76 inches. Now within this electrical service specification box, you can get into the light data and adjust the intensity as well of the light. I'm going to leave it as it is to just keep the default, but that is there for more customization. With that still selected, and in Home Designer Pro you have the option to copy and reflect. I'd like to go down to copy this object, and I want to reflect it to the other side of this cabinet. So I'm going to select this Reflect About Object tool. I want to line it up with the center of this base cabinet, and once you click, it'll place that light. Next thing I'd like to place is our Victorian two-handle faucet. Let's center that object. And then what I'd like to do is open the object. So I'm going to double click and I'm going to adjust that floor to bottom height down here to 43 inches. Our sink is kind of tall, so I want to make sure that it obviously hangs over the sink and does not interfere with the sink. The sink that we will be using today is from one of our bonus catalogs, and it's called the Stone Vessel Sink. You could just click and place that. We always want to make sure that each of our objects are centered for what we are placing. The next object I'd like to place is our fluted frame. I'm just going to place that in between the mirrors, the two lights, and above the Victorian two-handle faucet. To top off this side of the vanity, I'd like to place the hand towel. So these are just some various accessories. And if you hold the control key down, you can actually click and drag that so that you can release the snap objects for a second and just be able to place it wherever you'd like. Now if we get into a full camera view here, you'll see that it's coming along, but you'll also see that our towel is floating. So you can adjust these materials and objects in 3D view as well. And like I said, you can just click and drag that down. The next object I'd like to place is our soap dispenser. And we can just place that right here. Now let's go ahead and tile our views vertically. Zooming in here on the left-hand side of our floor plan, we can go ahead and close out of our library for a second. And let's copy and reflect this to the other side. So what I'm doing is I'm just clicking and highlighting this area. I want to make sure I don't get that second cabinet there. And I want to copy and reflect that to the other side. Now the left side of our vanity is complete without us having to go through all of those steps of recreating it. If we go up to our standard base cabinet tool here and go down to our tool palette, we can select a wall cabinet. Now this cabinet is already designed to fit the theme of this bathroom. Since I showed you how to design those base cabinets, I thought I'd set this as my default. So as you can see, when you set things as your default before you start working on your plan, things get a little bit easier. You can go into your defaults by going up to default settings, and then under cabinets you can get into each of these, customize it to exactly how you would like, and then when you place that object within your plan, it'll be already customized so you don't have to worry about getting in there and doing that again. I'm just going to center this. And now our vanity is almost complete, but it looks like we are missing our backsplash. If we get into our 3D perspective, we can go to our custom backsplash tool here, and then we can just highlight a little area. Now you can click and drag it to the length that you would like. I'm going to release that. Now as you can see, the tile has been placed above the mirror but behind the frame. So if we get into our floor plan view here, you can select that frame. Oh, I still have my cabinet tool selected. And then if you press the bottom arrow key on your keyboard, it'll bring that forward. So you just do that for both sides. You'll be able to see the mirror. I would like to change the material of that tile, so I'm going to hit Control L on my keyboard, and I'm going to get in my user catalog, The material that we're using today is a bleached nailed slat to add to the custom design or the rustic aspect of this design. And now our vanity is complete. So let's go ahead and move forward to our shower. Now getting into our shower, we can go ahead and close out of this full camera view. And let's get into our full camera here. But we want to do it so we can see the shower. So we can just click and drag. And let's tile these views vertically. So as I showed you before, you can go to the Window tab, tile vertically, but you can also click and drag it down. Now let's select our straight interior wall, and I'm just going to click and drag out two walls here. This wall, I'd like it to be 5 feet and 1/4 inch. And I'd like this wall to be 5 feet 8 inches. So if we just select this and drag that out a little bit. Next, what we'll do is we will place a straight half wall. This straight half wall will be our glass door. We can get in here and modify this by selecting the wall. You can double click on it, and a straight half wall will pop up as a railing specification. However, under the wall types, you can get in and change that to a glass shower. Under the newels and balusters, you'll modify this height to 95 inches. And underneath materials, we can adjust that material of the wall to a standard glass. So we can just select standard. And then we'll also want that same material for the inside of the shower. And then we can select OK. These materials have been applied. Next, what I'd like to do is go into our 3D perspective and use the eyedropper tool to select the material of the glass and apply it to that railing on top. Once we close out of this, we can go ahead and select it in our floor plan view and bump it along this wall. If we double click on our room, we can get into the moldings and remove the crown and floor molding. We don't really need molding in our shower. And then in our materials, we can adjust the floor finish. I'm going to get into my user catalog here, and under materials, I'm going to change that floor to a matte ivory coast pinwheel. And I'd like to change that wall to a white oak tile. These are both dowel tile materials that is found in one of our manufacturer catalogs. Once I select OK, you will see the adjustments made. Next, what I'd like to do is place a door here. We can go up to our door tool, and if we place it in a railing, you will see it'll automatically make it a doorway. However, if we release the object by pressing the spacebar on our keyboard, we can double click on that door and adjust this so it is a hinge door. And let's make that width 36 inches. We do have some more areas of customization within the door specification box. So under options, you can have it show open. It can swing both directions. You can also adjust the casing, the arch of the door, the hardware. We do want to add a push plate for both the interior and the exterior. And then we also want to adjust that height to about 48 inches. This is just saying that I put the 48 next to the D, and the D is indicating the default value for this setting. And this is not the default value, so that's why it's saying it's not going to make the adjustment. So we'll press OK, and if you select the whole and then just change it to 48 inches, it'll adjust the height of those handles. So I'm going to select OK, and now we have our door. In our 3D view, let's go ahead and adjust that material. I want to select the glass here and apply that to the door as well. You can also get into the floor plan view and show the door half closed or a little more open. We have a few features that we need to add to our shower, but first I'd like to adjust the way the door is swinging. You can select the door, then go down here and select change opening, and it'll change it to the other side. I'd like to bump that against that wall there. And next what I'd like to do is place our shower head as well as our drain and shelving. So I'm going to open up the library by pressing Ctrl L, and I would like to go to our accessories. The shower head that we'll be using today is Kohler, and I'm just going to place that here in the floor plan view. Now as you can see, it is turned around, so if we select that we can just rotate it around. And I also want to adjust it in 3D, so I'm going to open up this view a little bit. Now if we select the shower head, we can raise that height up here. We can also place our drain. I do want the drain to be centered, so I'm going to center it in the shower, both directions. And then I would like to place some shelving. This is also a Kohler shelving, and I'm just going to click and copy and reflect that to the other side. And we also want to make sure that shower head is centered. There we go. Now to add a little bit of texture to the shower, I would like to add a wall covering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of the library. I'm going to click on the shower space, and in that room specification box you'll see that there's a wall covering option. If we select Add New, we can get in there to our user catalog. This is also one of the dowel tiles that we'll be using for this. It's called Universal Accent 3x12. Press OK, and then I'm going to adjust that floor to bottom height to about 48 inches and press OK once more. Now it's a little low for what I would like, so I am going to double click on that room specification again, get into the wall covering and adjust that to, let's say, 68 inches. Okay, and now we have our wall covering added to our shower. Another thing that I'd like to do is close out of this perspective here. I'm going to zoom out here, and I want to close the door a little bit and add some towels. So I'm going to do Control L to open up my library. I'm just going to type in towel up top. And you can scroll down to find whatever one you would like. I would like to place this hanging towel right here. I'm going to place 2 of them. And then I'd also like to get into our 3D library, our user catalog, and place a mat. While we're at it, we can just place a mat under each of these as well. Now if we get back into a 3D view here, we can get into the full camera and just click and drag. Now you can see we have our shower and our mat. So let's close out of the library, close out of this camera, and let's start to work on our bathtub. I am just going to click and drag it here. Now to keep the theme consistent, we are going to use the same backsplash for this wall as well as the same factory sconces. Go to our window tool and place a window here. I want to center that window along this wall, and then I also want to open up the window to make a few adjustments. So to the width, I'd like to change that to 68 inches. And I'd like to change the height of that to 84. You do want to make sure that that floor to bottom is 4 inches though. That way it doesn't interfere with that base molding. Moving down the panels here under options, you'll be able to add an interior or exterior corner block. You can deselect casing if you'd like to remove the casing. I would like to keep it, so I'm going to leave that selected. You can also adjust the sill, sash, and frame, and the lights. For this, I'd like to bring that down, and I want to change the window type. So I'm going to go back up to General here, and underneath window type, I'm going to change that to a single hopper. And then you also have the option to change the shape, arch, and treatments, as well as materials, framing, and shutters. So I'm going to press OK, and now our window has been placed. I do want to change that sash to the same color as the base molding, so I'm going to use the material eyedropper tool, select the molding, and apply it to the sash. Now it looks like we are on a golf course, so let's go ahead and change our backdrop as well. This is very easy to do. You could do so by hitting Control L to open up your library, and you can just type in backdrop. The design I'd like to use today is Farm Overlook. Here we go. You can just click the space and then it'll apply it to the backdrop. And while we're in our library, let's get back to our user catalog here. And I want to apply that bleached nailed slats to this wall. And I also want to place those factory sconces. I'm just going to copy and reflect this to the other side of the window. And then last but not least, let's place our tub. The tub is one of our bonus catalogs called Bathroom Fixtures, and it's a stone soaking tub. I'm just going to place it here. But what I do want to do is I want to get into my floor plan view. So I'm just going to click and drag that down, and I'm going to zoom in here. Now as you can see, the tub is touching the window, so I'm just going to move that out with the arrow keys on my keyboard. And I want to place a double towel here as well. But let's go ahead and move forward to the rest of our bathroom design today. So let's go ahead and get out of our 3D view here, and I'm going to zoom out. I would like to place another window into our bathroom area where the toilet will be here for some ventilation. Just center that along this room, and then get into the library once again and place our toilet. We also want to place a wastebasket as well as a toilet paper holder. Now for this room, I'd like to place a pocket door, and I want to customize that pocket door so it's a glass pocket door. I'm going to open that up, and under the door style, change that to glass. I'm just going to press OK, and now that area is complete. We can take a full camera view here to get a new perspective to see that. If you would like to change the texture of the glass, you can do so by opening up that door, going to Materials, and then changing the glass to a textured glass of your liking. You could do a rainwater glass, and then it's a little bit more private. So I'm going to close out of this view here. What I'd like to do now is place some doors for the additional rooms. So I'm going to get up to our hinge door here, and add a door to our closet and our bedroom. Underneath my user catalog, I do have a bedroom that I would like to add. This just puts things into perspective, showing that it is a master bedroom. Another thing that I'd like to add is lighting. So you can do so by going to Build, Electrical, and then selecting Light. I'm just going to place these periodically here. You'll also need to add switches. As well as an electrical connection. So if you just click and drag, you can attach the switch to the lights, and if you attach lights to two different outlets, it will create a three-way switch for you automatically. And you would do the same thing for each of these rooms. You can also get in here and adjust this and minimize it as needed. Lastly, what I'd like to show you is our materials list. You can go to Tools, go down to Materials List, Calculate for all floors, and as you can see, it'll really break it up for you. If you go down a little bit, it'll bring you to the cabinets. You have some extra space here to get in there and customize it as needed, as well as the ability to enter in your own pricing for your local area. Scrolling down, you'll come to Fixtures, Furniture, and Electrical. You can also export this to an Excel sheet if you would like to work on it a little outside of the program. I did want to bring you back to our website here so you have an idea of where you can find the products and so forth. So underneath the Products tab, you'll find Professional, Architectural, Suite, and Interiors. We also have a product chooser so you can compare the products, do a side-by-side comparison of each one. Underneath the Products tab, you'll also find access to a free trial download. So this trial will give you full functionality of the software. There is no time limit. The only limitations are printing, saving, and exporting. But you will be able to see if the software is compatible with your computer, the different tools that are available, and if it will meet your needs. Underneath the User Center here, you will have access to training videos. If you select this icon right here, it'll show you the training videos that are applicable for your version. You will also have access to help articles. This will give you a step-by-step guide on how to create things within the software. They're a great resource if you're looking for something specific. You will also have access to catalog and content download. So this is where you will download your bonus and manufacturer catalogs. And you can just log in here and then you can download them into your program. So like I said, we have a free trial version. We also offer a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, so you have a full 30 days to try out the program to see if it'll meet your needs. We also provide upgrade discounts, so if you're watching this and you have an older version of the software, give our sales department a call. We'll be more than happy to assist you and provide you with some upgrade discounts. We provide training videos, help articles, and a user forum to really get you up and running in the program. If you have any additional questions or need help choosing a product, give us a call and we'll be happy to assist you. And like I said, thanks for attending. We'll be on for a few more minutes to answer any additional questions you may have.